G'day folks, in today's video I'm going to show you how to balance your Canon M50 in your Ronin SC. Now if you have a different camera you can still follow along because the balancing procedure is pretty well the same for all cameras with a few minor differences. So let's just jump right in and get started. Right here in front of me, I've got the Canon M50, and I've got the stock lens, the 15 to 45 millimeter. It's the one that comes with the base kit. And I also have all the parts that we're going to need to mount the camera. Now this here is a lens support, and that's the thumb screw to hold it in. With this setup here with the Canon M50 and the stock lens, we don't need this. If you have a larger lens on your Canon M50, then you will need it, and I will show you how to put it on at the end. So here in front of me, I also have a riser plate and the quick release plate. If you watched my review video of the Ronin SC, I mounted my Canon M50 in there without the riser plate, and it worked just fine. However, after tweaking things a little bit, I did find that putting the riser plate in there does make it balance a little better. So definitely you're going to want to use that. Riser plate is generally used if you're going to be mounting a smaller camera in the unit, such as the Canon M50 or even some of the Sony mirrorless cameras such as the Sony A6400. You can just get a better balance with the riser plate. So we're going to take one of the screws that are included in the package with the Ronin SC, and we're going to screw it into the riser plate. At this point you're going to need a screwdriver or coin or something. If you're going to be using the Ronin SC a lot, I definitely recommend getting some kind of photographer's little tool. This one here is by Small Rig. DJI sells their own version. It's a nice one too. It's branded with Ronin on the front of it. However, it is out of stock. But this little compact one from Small Rig is actually really nice. It's got all your hex keys, everything you need to change things up on the Ronin. If you like a bigger unit, Small Rig also sells this one here. But there's always something going to come up where you might have to change something out in the field. And it's definitely handy to have all the tools you need. So we're going to attach our riser plate first. Just make sure you line it up nice and straight and then tighten it in. So the next thing we're going to do is mount the quick release plate to the riser plate. But first we have to put in these thumb screws. So we'll just put one in like that. And then we'll put the second one in. Just like that. Now if you notice here on the bottom, you can see that it says lens. So we're going to make sure that's facing the lens. And then what we're going to do is line up these two screws to the 1/4-20s at the bottom of the riser plate. As you can see, it's labeled here light and heavy, but with the Canon M50, what we're going to want to do is push it all the way up, just like that. Again, we'll use our tool to tighten them in. Before we continue, I want to give you a couple balancing tips. First of all, when you go to balance it, you have to have the camera exactly how you're going to use it. For example, you need to take the lens cap off. Do not leave the lens cap on when balancing. If you're going to add any filters, ND filters, UV filters, lens hood, anything like that, make sure you attach it at this point. Also make sure you have your battery in and the memory card in. Those little minor things can make a big difference when balancing if you add them later. Now I'm just going to show you quickly why it's important to have your lens cap removed and any ND filters installed, the battery in, because here I have my Canon M50 and it is perfectly balanced no matter which way I put it. You can see it doesn't move. But watch, as soon as I put a lens cap on it, you can see there it's no longer in balance. Now it's not horrible. Chances are if I fire this up it's going to run okay. But ideally you just want the best balance you can get to prevent vibrations and jitters. So don't forget when balancing, take your lens cap off, put your memory card in, put your battery in, and any lens hoods or anything you're going to have attached to the camera. Especially a microphone. A microphone has quite a bit of weight, so you want to make sure that you have your microphone attached if you're going to have one. Now the other important thing is your lens. With the Canon M50 here, the lens is kind of locked in. If we press that button, you can see it unlocks it. So just make sure you have your lens in the out position before we start balancing it as well. Now we don't need the lens support for the Canon M50, but if you have a larger lens on the Canon M50 or a different camera with a larger lens, you would now put it on at this point as well. You want this on before you balance it. And basically, you can see there's a screw hole there. You just line the lens support up like that and then screw it in with the thumb screw. And that just gives it a bit of extra support. We're ready to start balancing the camera. So I'm going to change the camera angle here so we can get a better view of the gimbal. Okay, so here we have the gimbal here. And one of the nice new things with the Ronin SC is that you can lock all of the motors there. And that does make things a lot easier when it comes to balancing. So the first thing we're going to do is slide our camera in. And I'm just going to tighten it up for now. So before we get started here, we're going to lock some of the axes that we don't need. So at the back here, We're going to lock the pan axis so it won't spin that way. We're also going to lock the roll axis because we're just going to be doing the tilt right now. So we want this one left unlocked. So we're going to loosen this knob here. And this arm slides up and down. So to start, we're going to face the camera up. And we're just going to slide this arm back and forth until the camera just stays straight up and down. Just like that. Once we have that, we're going to lock it in. And that's the first step done of the tilt. The next thing we have to do is balance this plate. So what we're going to do is undo this knob at the bottom. And we're just going to adjust it until it stays perfectly level. So that's the first axis stabilized. And we know it's stabilized because we can put the camera in any position and it's going to stay there. Now at this point, we can use our marker. That's a new feature of the Ronin SC. If we slide it all the way and then tighten it in. And the reason we do that, because now if we take our camera out, because we're packing away and then we go to put it back in later on, it's going to go right to the right spot. It's a marker for us. So that's a handy addition for the Ronin SC. So now we're going to balance the roll. And we're going to do that again by using the same knob at the bottom, but this time we're going to be sliding the head back and forth this way. We're going to unlock the roll motor, so that way it'll roll back and forth. We're going to loosen this knob. So you can see there right now the way I have it, it's tilting one way. If I go the other way, it's going to be too heavy that way. So what we have to do is kind of find the balance point. You can see there it's still that looks good right about there. So now the last adjustment we need to make is at this motor here, the pan motor. And so we're going to unlock it. To do this balance, we have to tilt it forward. And basically when we're doing the balancing, we don't want this arm to move at all when we tilt it forward. So as you can see there, it's moving. So what we're going to do is adjust it. So we just adjust it a bit more. And a lot of times balancing is just playing around. It's kind of finicky. You just keep moving it until you get where you want it to go. And that's pretty good. So now as you can see, when I tilt it forward, it's not moving that arm. Okay, so we've done our balancing. As you can see, we are perfectly balanced now. No matter which position we put our camera in, it's going to be balanced. Now the next step we're going to do is go into the Ronin app and test it to make sure it is balanced okay, and we're going to auto-tune it. So let's go in that, let's launch the app now, and we will do that. So I've got the Ronin app on my smartphone, and what we're going to do here is we're going to fire everything up, connect to it, and then we're going to run a test just to make sure everything is balanced 100%. So we're going to power on the Ronin SC. There we go there. And now what we're going to do is launch the Ronin app. So first thing we're going to do is go to balance adjustment. Now before we can do the test, we have to put the gimbal on an angle. It shows there in that diagram we have to tilt it off to the side. So I'm going to tilt it off to the side a bit and then hit begin test. And at this point you can see the camera's moving. It's going to be doing some different diagnostics, and we'll just wait for it to finish its test. And there we go. You can see the report it gives back. Tilt is excellent, roll is excellent, and pan is excellent. So the last thing we can do here is if we go to motor parameters, we can do an auto tune. So we'll just press auto tune here. It tells us to make sure all the axes are unlocked. You're going to see the camera shake and do all kinds of crazy stuff. And it's just fine tuning the motors to get you best performance for the weight of the camera. And it's going to set all the parameters to give you the best results. And just like that, we're done. So yeah, folks, that's basically it. It's pretty simple to balance the Ronin SC. The first couple times you do it, it can be a little overwhelming, but once you've done it a few times, you'll find that it's actually quite easy to do, and you know, you can do it quite quickly. Well, folks, that's basically it for my video. Thanks a lot for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it useful and you found it had value. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.